In a life built on quiet choices, one moment changes the rules. She had a future that made sense, a confession waiting to be answered. Everything under control. Then he arrived. No warning, no expectations, just a connection that refused to stay silent. As emotions rise and time runs out, Miyuki stands at the edge of a decision that could redefine everything she believes about love. Because sometimes the most dangerous choice is listening to your heart. Sometimes the most important moments in life don't announce themselves. They arrive quietly, disguised as ordinary days, and only later do we realize everything changed. Miyuki's life is built on quiet strength. After losing their parents early, she and her older sister learned how to depend on each other, not dramatically, but gently. Their home is calm, warm, and modest, shaped by shared routines and unspoken understanding. There is no excess, no noise, just two people choosing stability day after day. Miyuki grows into adulthood within this environment, becoming thoughtful, observant, and deeply aware of the emotional weight of small decisions. She is naturally kind, with a presence that puts people at ease, not because she tries to impress, but because she listens. Among those drawn to her is Jun, a young man whose affection is steady and sincere. He doesn't rush, doesn't pressure. When he finally shares his feelings, it's not dramatic, it's careful, respectful. Miyuki receives his words with gratitude. She recognizes the value in what he offers: security, clarity, and a future that makes sense. But appreciation is not the same as certainty. Instead of answering immediately, Miyuki chooses something quieter and more difficult. She pauses. She gives herself permission to reflect. This isn't avoidance or fear. It's awareness. Life continues in its familiar rhythm until an unexpected visit subtly shifts that balance. A close friend of her sister arrives from abroad, visiting Japan for a short stay.
Long time. Give me some love. Give me some love. Long time no see. Oh my god. Look at you.
Miyuki.
Oh, nice to meet you. Wow. You say, wait, Yamato, Nadeshiko, yoroshiku. Wow, it's cute. Wow, you have a beautiful daughter.
The meeting is casual, almost incidental. No expectations, no intention, just a shared space, a conversation that begins politely and lingers longer than expected. The connection doesn't announce itself loudly. It unfolds naturally, through humor, shared curiosity, and a sense of being quietly understood. Miyuki is surprised, not by the feeling itself, but by how gently it arrives. There is no rush, no internal conflict at first, just a soft awareness that something new has entered her emotional landscape. She notices herself thinking more deeply, listening more closely. It unsettles her, not because it is wrong, but because it is unexpected.
可愛いだって。ありがとうございます。
Oh, yeah, no problem. You did a good job. Good daughter.
Miyuki becomes more aware of how easily life continues, even when something inside her has shifted. Nothing around her changes on the surface. The mornings remain quiet. The evenings still end with shared meals and familiar conversations. Yet beneath that calm routine, her attention sharpens. She listens more closely to her own reactions, noticing which moments feel light and which carry unexpected weight. The foreign visitor remains present, but never intrusive. Their interactions are simple, brief conversations, shared observations, small moments of laughter that arrive without effort. There is no attempt to impress, no carefully chosen words. That ease is what unsettles Miyuki most. She finds herself thinking afterward, replaying fragments of dialogue, not because they were extraordinary, but because they felt natural. And that realization makes her pause. This is not confusion born from excess emotion. It is clarity slowly forming. Miyuki understands the difference between attraction and responsibility. She does not romanticize uncertainty, nor does she assign meaning where none exists. Instead, she reflects quietly, asking herself honest questions. What does she feel and why? What does she owe herself and what does she owe others? These questions do not demand immediate answers, but they refuse to be ignored. True to who she is, Miyuki doesn't retreat inward or hide her thoughts. She speaks openly with her sister, not seeking permission, but clarity. Their conversation is calm and grounded. Her sister listens without judgment, offering neither encouragement nor warning-only perspective. She reminds Miyuki that emotions are not commands. They are signals meant to be understood, not blindly followed. Every choice, she says, carries responsibility, even when no one is at fault. This advice stays with Miyuki. She doesn't act on impulse. She doesn't chase feelings. Instead, she observes them with patience. In doing so, she begins to understand something essential, that growing up is not about eliminating uncertainty, but learning how to sit with it honestly. And so, Miyuki remains at the center of her own quiet crossroads, not yet choosing a direction, but becoming fully aware that a choice, one that will define her next step, is slowly, inevitably forming. She speaks again with her sister, not because she is lost, but because she values grounded perspective. Their conversation is unhurried, marked by long pauses that feel intentional. Her sister listens carefully, reminding her that emotions often arrive before understanding does. Feeling something does not require immediate action. Maturity, she says gently, is knowing when to wait. That advice brings Miyuki a sense of calm. She stops trying to define her emotions and allows them to exist without judgment. She maintains clear boundaries, neither encouraging possibility nor suppressing awareness. This restraint is not fear, it is respect.
Oh, sorry. Oh, sorry. Sorry.
At the same time, Jun remains present in her life, unchanged in his kindness. He does not pressure her for a response, but his patience carries its own gravity. His presence represents continuity, a future that feels stable and understandable. And yet, Miyuki notices something else, an absence of urgency within herself. Not indifference, but stillness, the kind that signals reflection rather than avoidance. This contrast becomes impossible to overlook. On one side, there is certainty without excitement. On the other, curiosity without promise. Miyuki does not frame either as right or wrong. She recognizes that both deserve respect, and that recognition becomes the source of her internal tension. The visit eventually nears its end, and with it, the quiet presence that has stirred Miyuki's thoughts. There is no dramatic farewell, no confessions or promises, just a subtle acknowledgement that something meaningful passed through her life, leaving behind a deeper understanding of herself. She feels neither regret nor relief, only clarity beginning to take shape. When Jun speaks sincerely, Miyuki realizes she is finally ready not to choose comfort, but honesty. She thanks him, then calmly explains that clarity cannot be rushed, and accepting certainty without alignment would only cause quiet regret. Jun listens with dignity and accepts her truth. Life continues without drama, but Miyuki gains something lasting: self-awareness. She learns that real growth comes from patience, integrity, and choosing honesty over convenience. Miyuki's story reminds us that growing up isn't about pleasing everyone. It's about understanding yourself, respecting others, and having the courage to choose with clarity.